What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where I get higher than Wankanyantanka, the great Thunderbird, blazing it up in his teepee atop the sacred Paha Sapa Mountains, and we tell you guys silly stories from mythology and folklore. Tonight, we will be bringing you from the Cheyenne tribe of the Native American folks, the chase of the severed head, which sounded like a pretty fucked up and fun little story here. I've heard parts of it. I haven't heard the whole story, so it's going to be a good one where I'm kind of a story virgin going into it, too.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, Kim's the only one who knows the whole thing, so.
I've read it like 3 times.
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So without further ado, Kimbo, go ahead and take it away there.
Fabulous. Let's see. There was once a family that lived on their own. A mom, a dad, daughter, and a son. They lived in a lodge not far from the Great Lake, in a prime hunting field. Every day the dad went out to go hunt, but not before painting his wife every morning with red paint, head to toe.
Okay. You said painting his wife. I instantly went to like the Titanic. Paint me like I'm one of your French girls, Jack.
No. He literally slabbed paint all over her. And it was sacred medicine to protect her from harm. The children had to stay at home while Mom went to get the water. And every time Mom came home, all her paint would be gone. And her braids would be undone.
Oh, what you getting into out there, Mama-san?
But she always managed to get home just before her husband did. He was a shit hunter and never brought home any meat.
Just straight blunt honesty, he was a shit hunter.
Never brought home anything. Yeah. And he never asked his wife any questions, but always wondered what happened to all the paint that he painted her with. One day, he asked his daughter where she goes every day, why she never has her paint on, and when by the time he gets back. His daughter replies,
"Whenever you leave to start your daily failure, you fucking failure of a man, she leaves to get water. She's gone most of the time, probably out selling crack, because you can't bring home the bacon."
The next morning, he paints his wife again, grabbed his bows and arrows, and headed out. But instead of going hunting, he booked it for the lakeshore, dug a big fucking hole, and buried himself in it, leaving a little lookout to see through. He hadn't been there long when he saw his wife, bucket in hand. At least she was taking the bucket, you know.
Yeah, at least she was actually taking the bucket. She was pretending to try to get water, at least.
All right. Well, she did bring home the water every day.
Okay, so at least so technically he's the one who's more sketchy. What are you doing, fucker? You ain't brought home no meat.
I know, right? When she got to the water's edge, she set her bucket down, took off her dress, unbraided her hair, and then sat down. Then she would chant "Nashue," which means "I am here."
Oh.
Soon, her husband saw the water start to move, and a mihni, M-I-H'-N-I, mihni, or a water spirit, crawled out from the fucking water, wrapped itself around his wife, and then licked off all the paint on her.
Yeah, buddy.
As you could tell, Dad was pissed.
I painted her butthole like super well. And he got every speck of paint off of every spoke.
Dad hopped out of his little hole like a ninja bunny. He got his knife ready and rushed the 2 adulterers. He cut the water spirit into little pieces and then turned and cut his wife's head off.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Straight off the rack. By the way, I would do this to you too if I ever caught you with a water spirit.
Just out there having my butthole licked by a water spirit.
Or any woman.
Well, I had all this paint.
Who's licking your butthole, yes. I will probably cut your head off.
Cut my head off. Okay.
Serious
well,
face.
That's all I got to say about that.
I know, I don't have anything to worry about. No worries. The water spirit's body pieces rolled back into the water and was never seen again. Then the dad started hacking at his wife into pieces, saving her ribs. He threw the rest of her body's pieces into the lake and then returned home to tell his kids.
My children, look. I caught an antelope and brought home some meat. Where is your mom?
The kids tell him that she still hasn't come home yet. And then the dad says,
Well, since I got meat sooner than I thought I would, I'll cook you some before I head out again.
When he finished cooking, he gave the children equal portions. The little boy says,
This tastes like Mom.
His sister punches him in the foot and says,
Shut up. This is antelope meat.
The little girl saves some meat for her mother when she returns. They didn't know. Their dad put on his shoes and left to get a pack of cigarettes,
so
never
fucked up.
intending to come back.
It's just so fucked up. It's so
I know. That's why I chose
It's so
it.
horrible. It is so horribly fucked up. Because of a lot of our stories are like, and then he mounted the flying horse and went to fight a magical gorgon. This one's like, nope. Homeboy murdered his wife, fed it to fucking kids.
And then left to get a
And
pack
then
of
left.
cigarettes,
Yeah.
never intending to return.
Bye.
He left to find his tribe's camp. The children were sitting there alone for quite some time, and then suddenly they heard a thud at the door.
Thud.
And they heard a grotesque voice of their mother cry out,
I love my kids, but I guess they don't love me or they wouldn't have eaten me. I do wonder how I taste, though. Can you taste all the Virginia Slims?
The kids freak out, obviously. And the little girl grabs her moccasins and her quills, some red, some white, and some yellow. And then she grabs her little root digger. And the thuds and cries from their mother continue. So they stood on the side of the door.
Still out, yeah.
They stood on the side of the door, and then they opened it. Their mother's head rolls on the ground to the back of the lodge. All the way to the back.
Can someone pass me a cigarette? It's been a long day.
The kids run out and shut the door behind them, and they just book it. Fucking take off. They ran and ran, and then the little boy cried out,
Sister, I can't run anymore. I'm tired.
So his sister let them rest for a moment before they ran on. At long last, they reached the top of the divide. They looked back and could see their mother's head rolling after them. Somehow the head had gotten loose. It closed in on them, and the little boy was terrified as well as exhausted. As they were running, the sister said,
When I was a little girl playing, sometimes the prickly pears were so thick on the ground that I couldn't get through them. Ha!
And as she says this, she scatters behind her a handful of yellow porcupine quills. At once, there appeared a great bed of tall prickly pears with great yellow thorns. This cactus patch was strung out for a long way in both directions across the trail they had made.
Shit, poison ivy.
When the head reached that place, it rolled on top of the prickly pears and tried to
Ouch.
roll over them, but kept getting caught in the thorns.
Ouch, these thorns really hurt my head.
For a long time, it kept trying and trying to work its way through, and at last it did get loose from the thorns and passed over. But by this time, the girl and the boy had gone a long distance. After a while, however, they looked back again and saw the head coming. The boy almost fainted. He kept calling out to his sister,
Sister, I can't run anymore. I'm tired.
and when the sister heard him, she said while she was running,
When I was a little girl, playing by myself.
I figure she's playing by herself.
I have no friends. I often found the bullberries bushes very thick.
And as she said this, she threw behind her a handful of white quills, and where they touched the ground, a huge grove of thick, thorny bullberry bushes grew up. They blocked the way, and then the head stopped there for a long time, unable to pass through the bushes.
I'm really not a fan of bullberries.
The children ran on and on towards the place where the tribe had last been camped. But at length they looked back and saw the head coming again. The little boy cried out,
Fucking relentless. Sister, I can't run anymore. I'm tired.
Again, the girl threw quills behind her, this time the red ones, and a great thicket of thorny rose bushes sprang up and stopped the head. Again, the children went a long way, but at last they saw the head coming, and the boy called out,
Sister, please, I'm tired.
Then the sister said,
When I was a little girl with not a single friend or person that would acknowledge me in the whole world, I often came across these ravines that I couldn't cross, and I thought about throwing myself inside.
Wow,
that got
went
dark.
dark.
That got
I mean,
dark.
this is a dark story, so I guess it
It
fits.
fits, I guess.
So she stopped and drew the point of her root digger over the ground in front of her. This made a little groove in the dirt, and she placed the root digger across the groove. Then she and her brother walked over on the root digger, and when they had crossed, the furrow became wider and wider and deeper, and soon it was a great chasm with cut walls, and at the bottom they could see a little water trickling.
Jeez. We made a canyon. That girl is some scary X-Men level shit going on.
The girl says,
Now we can rest here. No more running.
the boy begs his sister to run, but she says,
No, I will kill our mother here.
that sounds like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
It does.
Or
Quit
Mickey
poking
Mouse.
my belly. Yeah.
Presently, the head came rolling up to the edge of the ravine and stopped. And it said,
Hey, daughter, where did you cross? Place your root digger on the ground so I can get across. I can't just roll across this big ravine. What do you think I am? A bird?
The girl attempted to do so, but the boy pulled her back every time, and at last she managed to lay the root digger down, and the head began rolling over. But when it was halfway across, the girl tripped the stick, and the head fell into the ravine, and the ravine closed in on itself.
I thought I raised you better than this. Sploosh.
You weren't even there half the time,
You
bitch.
weren't even there.
You're getting your asshole licked by a fucking water spirit.
When I was all alone because my mom was cheating on my dad, and my dad's a horrible hunter.
After this, the children started on again to look for the people, and at last they found the camp and drew near it. Before they arrived, however, they heard a man's loud voice. As they came closer, they saw it was their father speaking. He was walking about the camp and telling everyone that while he was out hunting, his 2 children had killed and eaten their mother.
They're feral children, I tell you this.
He warned the people that if the children came to the camp, that they should not be allowed to enter. And when they heard this, the children were frightened. Still, they didn't know what else to do but go into the camp. The people immediately caught them and tied their hands and feet. And the next day, the whole tribe moved away and left the children
Thank
there,
God.
still
I thought
tied.
they were going to fucking kill him and eat him or something. It's been such a dark story. I'm just expecting the worst at every turn.
Nope, they tie up the kids and leave them there to die.
Oh.
Then they move their camp so they don't have to watch them die.
It's just it's even more. We were just going to leave you to die, but we don't feel good watching it.
No.
So what we're going to do is we're going to tie you up here and we're going to move down that way. It's been fun.
Good luck. Winter's almost upon us.
Couldn't you just not tie us up? Nope. I think we've already committed to this.
Yeah, you're about to fucking
Yeah.
take off with the rest of the shit.
Someone already put up a teepee over there. I mean,
like
it's
my
pretty
ribs
much a
right
done
where they
deal.
are.
Yeah.
In the camp, there was an old dog, no teeth, who knew what had happened and took pity on the children. The night of their arrival, she went into the lodge, stole some sinew. I don't know what the fuck that is. Sinew. A knife and an owl, and took them into a hole where she had her pups.
Ruff, ruff.
She doesn't have puppies anymore. This is a long time ago, but this is where she had her pups.
Oh.
The next day, after all the people had gone, the children heard a dog howling. Presently, the old dog approached them, saying,
I pity you, and I've come to help you.
The girl says,
Untie me so I can untie my brother.
And so the old dog began to gnaw at the rawhide strings around the girl's hands. The animal had no teeth and could not cut the cords, but they became wet and began to slip. The girl kept working her hands and at last got them free. She untied her legs and then freed her brother. That evening they walked about through the camp and picked up old moccasins to wear. Both children were crying, and so was the dog. It was so sad.
Aw.
They all sat on the hill near the camp and cried bitterly, for they had nothing to eat, no place to sleep, and nothing to cover themselves with. And winter was coming.
Winter's coming.
It was coming.
Yeah.
The girl and the dog sat weeping with their heads hanging down, but the boy was looking about. He said,
Sister, see that wolf? It's coming right at us. It's coming right at us.
She says,
It's useless for me to look. I couldn't kill it just by looking at it, so we can't eat it.
But the boy was persistent, saying,
But look, it's coming right up to us.
And at last the girl raised her head, and when she looked at the wolf, it fell dead. That's some powers, man.
Ratos, Dorato, Faritos.
Wow.
Glowing demon red eyes.
Jesus.
I told you I didn't want to kill it, brother.
Oh my God. Then the dog brought the tools, and she had stolen before the tribe had left. And with the knife, they cut the wolf up, and from its skin, they made a bed for the dog.
Oh, that's just nice. That's people love it when people do good things for dogs.
Fuck yeah. I do.
Take care of your doggos.
The children stayed in the abandoned camp, living a little bit better now, while the people in the new camp were starving. Suckers.
That's what you get, motherfuckers.
The children kept a large fire burning day and night and used big logs so that it never went out. But after they had eaten the wolf, they began to feel hungry again. The girl became very unhappy, and one day she sat crying with the dog sitting beside her and the boy standing and looking about. He says,
Look, sister, there's an antelope coming.
The depressed little girl says,
No, it's pointless for me to look. Looking will do no good. I must murder.
So now she's a demon.
She's possessed by a demon.
But the little boy was persistent.
You should still look, you selfish bitch. Maybe it would die if you just like the wolf did. You little selfish, you little bitch-ass possessed bitch.
And the girl looked, and as with the wolf, the antelope fell dead. They cut it up and used its skin to make a bed for themselves. They ate the flesh and fed the old dog on the liver. The girl would chew pieces up real fine for the toothless animal.
Oh, I like some liver.
That's good for it. At last, the antelope was all eaten, and again they grew hungry. Again the boy saw a strange-looking animal. This time it was an elk, which fell dead before the girl's look. She stretched the elk's hide, and they used it for shelter. With the sinews that the dog had stolen, they sewed their moccasins and mended their clothing. When the elk meat had run out, the boy saw a buffalo coming straight to the shelter, and the girl killed it by a look.
I feel like this is progressing towards a Carrie situation where she just, and then it's like, she tells her brother, it's cool, I'm just going to go talk to Dad in the camp real fast. It comes back covered in blood.
Wow. They cut up the meat and used the hide to make a larger and better shelter, where they stayed until winter came and the snow began to fall. One night, when the girl went to bed, she said,
I wished that I might see a lodge in that sheltered place in the morning. I could sleep there with my brother and the dog and the demon inside me. I could make a bow and arrows for my brother to hunt buffalo with.
She also wished that her brother might become a young man and that they might have meat racks in the camp and meat on them. In the morning, when the boy got up and looked out, he said,
Sister, look, there's a lodge over there. Now, check it out.
It was the very place that the girl had wished. They moved their possessions and their fire over to it. And when the boy entered the lodge, he was a young man.
I'm a man now.
That winter, he killed many buffalo, and they had plenty of meat.
I'm a buffalo slayer.
One night, as she was going to bed, the girl made another wish.
So you said they're older now, right? Or just the
Just the
brother?
boy,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Just the boy.
Brother, our father has treated us badly. He left us to let us eat our mom and let us get tied up and deserted by the people. I wish we knew how to send word to the camp. And I wish we had 2 bears that we could make eat our dad. 2 bears, I command you to eat my father.
Wow. Next morning, when the girl got up, 2 bears were sitting at the lodge on either side of the door. She says to them,
Hello, my pets. Who's hungry for breakfast?
After giving them food, she went out to one of the meat racks and pulled off a piece of bloody fat. She called to a raven that was sitting in a tree nearby, saying,
Come down here. I want you to deliver a message. Go find the camp of my people. Fly among them until the people ask, What is a raven doing? What is it carrying? Why does it keep shitting on us? Then drop this piece of fat for them to see and tell them where. You got it. And the people there have scaffolds of meat there. Tell them that. Huh? Little raven.
The raven took the piece of fat in his bill and flew away. He found the camp and flew about, calling and calling, and a number of men.
I'm gonna shit on you.
A number of men sitting here and there began to say to each other, What's that raven doing?
Why does it keep shitting on me? It's like it's literally nailed me specifically like 4 times. It keeps
I don't think a
circling
raven could
around.
shit that many times in a row.
Pretty sure it's holding up a middle fucking finger while it flies by too.
The raven dropped the meat, and someone picked it up, said, Why, that's fresh fat. Then the raven said, Those people that you threw away are still in the old camp, eh?
Hey, I flew all the way down here from Canada, eh?
And they have scaffolds of meat like this. And then the raven flew back to the girl. Sorry, I don't have a very good crow voice.
Yeah.
You get Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
I can do Canadian, eh?
Raven. Canadian Raven. Tune in this spring on TBS.
An old man began crying out to the people as he walked through the camp. Those children whom we threw away have plenty of meat. They're in the old camp, and now we must move back to it as quickly as we can. I do okay, old man?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I like it.
The people tore down their lodges, packed up, and started back. Some of the young men went on ahead in little groups of 3s and 4s. And when they reached the children's camp, the girl fed them and gave them meat to carry back to the others. All the trees about the lodge were covered with meat. The buffalo hides were stacked in great piles. Like piles.
Just piles of buffalo.
All she had to do was look at them.
Yeah. Did you just kill a herd of buffalo with your mind?
After a while, the whole village arrived in the camp. A whole village arrived and camped not far from the children's lodge. And everyone began to come to the lodge for food. The girl sent word to her father to hold off until all the rest had been fed, so that he could come and take his time instead of eating in a hurry. She tells the bears, because she's drinking beer,
Come down here. I want you to deliver a message. Go find the camp.
No.
Oh, no. Oh, that's what I told old Raven. I'm gonna send for your food last. Once my father is eaten, I'll say, there's your food, and that's your cue to eat him.
In the evening, when the last of the people were leaving the lodge, she said to her brother,
Tell everyone no more tonight. It's father's turn to eat now. Let the bears feast on the flesh of your father.
Wow. When the father came and they fed him, He said happily to them,
"Oh, children, you're living well here. You have plenty of meat, tongues and back fat. Tongues on the back fat."
He did not eat everything his daughter had set before him, but he decided to take some home for breakfast. After he had left the lodge, the girl says to the bears,
"There's your food. Eat him."
and the bears sprang after their father and pulled him down. He called to his daughter to take the animals away, but they killed him and began to drag him back into the lodge. The girl said,
"Take him elsewhere to eat him. Whatever you do, don't throw him into the stream."
"What? No.
Oh,
Whatever you
whatever
don't."
you don't eat, throw into the stream. I'm just thinking that's just so fucked up. That's like he's like even bringing back the disc from the camp. "I want you to get eaten, but I don't want to have to listen to it. So, bye-bye now."
What the bears did not eat, they threw into the creek, and then they washed their hands, and no one ever knew what had become of the father.
They covered up the murder. The bears covered up the murder.
Since that time, bears have eaten human flesh when they could. The boy and the girl returned to the camp and always afterwards lived well there.
Jesus.
This is a 1903 story, by the way,
Yeah.
based on the account by George Bird Grinnell.
Yeah.
That's the story, guys.
That's
It's a fucked up story, isn't it?
That's just, that is so fucked up. That is two, count them, two murders covered up.
Mm-hmm. That sounds right to me.
Yeah. And a little girl that can control animals with her mind.
I could read you one more if you want.
Make stuff happen. Oh, if it's up to you.
You guys want to hear one more?
I think. Let's see. I think they do.
I don't know this tribe, though.
I don't know this tribe.
Passamaquoddy,
Passamaquoddy.
the Mimics, and the Maliseets.
Maliseet?
This is an interesting tribes. I've never heard of them.
Micmac.
Oh.
Micmac, I've heard of them before. I don't know where they are, though. So.
Sorry. I only know the Cheyenne because of Dustin's heritage.
Cheyenne.
This motherfucker's heritage.
I don't think it's Cheyenne.
No, the last story was.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't say your
Okay,
specifically Cheyenne.
Yeah. Micmac. Micmac and Maliseet.
This is a lot of tribes that actually believe this. It's called Glooscap Fights the Water Monster.
Glooscap fights the water monster.
He's an interesting character, like a deity for them. He's fucking pretty badass to me. I know I've read you the story before, but you were just kind of zoned out in your Wasteland 3 game, so I wasn't really sure if you were listening to me.
I heard it. It's kind of a cool story. Yeah.
I'll try my best to do all the voices myself. I'm sorry, guys. But you could just comment.
I'll just comment. I'll be commentary over here.
All right, it starts out. Glooscap yet lives, somewhere at the southern edge of the world. He never grows old, and he will live long past the world's last.
Uh-huh.
So he'll live after the earth dies.
Yes.
Sometimes Glooscap gets tired of running the world, ruling the animals and regulating nature, instructing people how to live.
He's tired of it.
Then he tells them,
bored.
I'm tired of it. Goodbye. I'm going to go
Bye.
make myself die now.
He just chooses to die. Fuck it.
So he paddles off in his magic white canoe and disappears into the misty clouds. But he always comes back. He cannot abandon the people forever, and they cannot live without him. Glooscap is a spirit, a medicine man, and a sorcerer. He can make men and women smile. He can do anything. I can make you smile.
Yeah.
Glooscap made all the animals, created them to be peaceful and useful to humans. When he formed the first squirrel, it was as big as a whale. What would you do if I let you loose on the world? Glooscap asked. And then the squirrel attacked a big tree, chewing it up into pieces in no time. You're too destructive for your size,
That is fucking terrifying.
said Glooscap.
Just a giant fucking squirrel.
So he remade him small. The first beaver was also as big as a whale. It built a dam and flooded the country from horizon to horizon. Glooscap said, "You'll drown all the people if I let you loose like this."
Oh, shit. Nothing quite as destructive as a huge beaver.
The dam.
Damn!
So he tapped the beaver on its back, and it shrank to its present size. The first moose was so tall that it reached the sky and looked altogether different from the way it looks now. It trampled everything in its path. Forests, mountains, everything.
That's even more terrifying.
"You'll ruin everything," Glooscap said.
Said Glooscap. Glooscap is also even does commentary.
"You'll step on all the people and kill them." So Glooscap tapped the moose on the back and made it small.
Man, there you go.
But the moose refused to become smaller. So Glooscap killed it and recreated it in a different size and with a different look.
Jesus.
Mooses are fucking stubborn
Yeah,
bitches. Have you ever
yeah.
come across one of those?
That's true. I wonder
Oof,
what the original
fuck
moose
no.
looked like. Some Cthulhu shit.
Probably.
Yeah. So what is now a moose used to have like an octopus face and demon wings and a third eye on its foot.
In this way, Glooscap made everything as it should be. Just going to ignore your comments and keep going. Glooscap also created a village and taught the people there everything they needed to know. They were happy hunting and fishing. The men and women were happy making love.
Yeah, he taught him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Showed
he
him this is
showed
where
'em
your
both.
penis
Yeah.
goes.
I have a penis and a vagina, see? Glooscap is love.
And the children were happy playing. Parents cherished their children, and the children respected their parents. All was well as Glooscap had made it.
All is Glooscap.
The village had one spring, and the only source of water far and wide, that always flowed with pure, clear, cold water. But one day the spring ran dry. Only a little bit of slimy ooze issued from it. It stayed dried even in the fall when the rain came, and then in the spring when the snow melted. The people wondered, "What shall we do? We cannot live without water." Sorry, that was my people's voice.
We cannot live without water.
The wise men and elders held a council and decided to send a man north to the source of the spring to see why it had run dry. The man walked a long time until he came at last to a village. The people there were not like humans. They had webbed hands and feet. Here, the brook widened out. There was some water in it, but not much. Only a little, though it was slimy, yellowish, and stinking.
Ew.
Yeah. The man was thirsty from his walk and asked to be given a little bit of water, even if it was bad.
Oh, bro, don't drink that. At least boil it first.
"We can't give you any water,"
Said the people with the webbed hands and feet.
"unless our great chief permits it. He wants all the water for himself."
Duck people.
"Where is your chief?" asked the man.
"You must follow the brook further up,"
They told him. So the man walked on and at last met the big chief. When he saw him, he trembled with fright because the chief was a monster so huge that if one stood at his feet, one could not see his head.
Oh, big motherfucker.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
That shit was a fucking alligator or some shit.
Yeah.
Like the little picture that they show me is like a fucking weird snake with like 7 little people in it.
Yeah.
Look at that shit.
That's
Fucking weird. 7 little people all inside his
7
belly.
little people all inside
Fuck
the
that.
belly.
Fuck that.
Meh.
The monster filled the whole valley from end to end. He dug a hole himself, a huge hole, and dammed it up, so that all the water that was in it,
What a
none could
dick.
flow
What
into
an
the stream bed.
asshole.
And he had fouled the water and made it poisonous and so stinking
Oh,
that mist covered its slimy surface.
nobody likes stinky water.
Mm-mm.
Nobody likes stinky water.
No. The monster had a mile-wide, grinning mouth going from ear to ear. His dull yellow eyes stared out of his head like huge pine knots. His body was bloated and covered with warts as big as mountains.
Ew.
The monster stared dully at the little man, and he pronounced with his prudening eyes, and finally said in a fearsome croak, "Little man, what do you want?"
Little man.
I have a very terrifying voice, sorry. The man was terrified, but he said, "I come from a village far downstream. Our only spring ran dry because you're keeping all the water for yourself.
Hoarder's water.
We would like
edition.
you to let us have some of this water. Also, please don't muddy it up so much." Word for word, y'all.
Please stop shitting in our water source.
Because the monster's so big, he fucking echoes, by the way. The monster blinked at him a few times, and finally he croaked, "Do as you please." I don't remember my voice. Sorry. "Do as you please. I don't care. If
don't
you want
care.
water, go elsewhere."
If you want water, go elsewhere.
Thank you for my echo. But the man insisted and said, "We need water. The people are dying of thirst." To this, the monster replies, "I don't care.
I care.
Don't bother me.
Oh, man.
Go away,
Fuck you.
or I'll swallow you up."
I'll put you in my butt.
The monster opened his mouth wide from ear to ear, and inside the man could see many things that the creature had killed.
Check it out. Ah.
I thought you said chicken teriyaki.
Chicken teriyaki. You see that?
Clearly,
I
got something
killed
wrong.
that fucking teriyaki for lunch, bro.
Wow,
Call me Slayer of Teriyaki.
that's me. Orange chicken, too.
Orange chicken.
Oh, wow.
All the chicken should be orange.
The monster gulped a few times and then smacked his lip with a noise like thunder. At this, the man's courage broke, and he turned and ran away as fast as he could.
Peace.
Have you ever seen Roadrunner? He was faster than that.
Just out.
Back at his village, the man told his people, "Nothing can be done. If we complain, this monster will swallow us up. He'll kill us all." The people were in despair. "What shall we do?" they cried. Now, Glooscap knows everything that goes on in the world, even before it happens. He sees everything with his inward eye, and he says, "I must set things right. I'll have to get the water for the people myself." God damn it.
Glooscap away.
Then Glooscap girded himself for war. He painted his body with paint as red as blood. He made himself 12 feet tall, and he used 2 huge clamshells for earrings.
Cha-cha.
He put 100 black eagle feathers and 100 white eagle feathers into his scalp lock. That's when you tie your hair with feathers.
Yeah.
By the way. He painted yellow rings around his eyes, and he twisted his mouth into a snarl and made himself look ferocious.
Glooscap is no badass. Hold on. Let me give myself abs.
As he stamped, the earth would tremble. Glooscap is
Yeah.
powerful, man. You
Glooscap
don't
is a
fuck with this
beast.
dude.
You don't fuck with Glooscap.
He uttered his fearful war cry, and it echoed and re-echoed from all the mountains. He grasped a huge mountain in his hand, and the mountain composed of flint. And from it he made himself a single knife, sharp as a weasel's tooth.
Weasel tooth knife.
That's my Patronus. They told me it was a fucking weasel.
Weasel.
I was like, really?
Weasel.
Okay. "Now I am gonna go," he says.
Oh, Glooscap.
Striding forth amongst the thunder and lightning with the mighty eagles circling above him. Thus, Glooscap came to the village of the people with webbed hands and feet. "I want the water," he told them. Looking at him, they were afraid. They brought him a little bit of muddy water. I'll get some more and cleaner water," Glooscap said,
Yeah.
and went upstream to confront the monster.
I would like to see your manager, please.
He told their chief, I want clean water, a lot of it, and for the people downstream. Please? Ho ho, says the monster.
Ho!
Thank you for my echo, finally. All the water is mine. Go away,
Get the fuck out of here.
or I'll kill you.
Fuck off. There's
I love
something
you.
wrong with the echo.
Glooscap cried loudly. Slimy lump of mud. We'll see who will be the one to be killed. They fought, and the mountain shook, the earth split open, and the swamp smoked and bursted into flame. Mighty trees were shivered into splinters, and the monster opened its huge, wide mouth to swallow Glooscap.
Glooscap.
But Glooscap made himself taller than the tallest tree, and even the monster's mile-wide mouth was too small for him. Glooscap seized his great flint knife and slit the monster's bloated belly. From the wound gushed a mighty stream, a roaring river, tumbling, rolling, and foaming down and down and down, gorging itself out into a vast, deep bed, flowing by the village and onto the great sea of the east.
Yay!
That's how we got water, guys.
Yay! We got our water. They turned the water back on. Why does it all smell like the inside of Crocodile Monster?
Because it kind of came from there.
It kind of came from there.
That should be enough water for the people, said Glooscap. He grasped the monster and squeezed him with his mighty palm. He squeezed and threw him away, flinging him into the swamp. Glooscap had squeezed this creature into small bullfrogs, and ever since, the bullfrog's skin has been wrinkled because Glooscap squeezed so hard.
Oh.
And that's the end.
That's the end.
I hope you enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little
I wasn't
bonus. Where did it
expecting
come from?
The people?
The people?
A lot of people.
It came from people.
You said the Micmacs was one
Oh,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
The Molly seat
Micmacs, Molly Seed,
and the Passamaquoddy.
Passamaquoddy. Okay. Awesome.
A little region over there.
Little regions, areas.
Good stories, though.
Good
I thought that was
stories.
a fucking weird one, too.
Yeah, good fun. I enjoyed it. I really dig a lot of the Native American style
yeah.
histories.
Personally, I grew up near the Tulalip Indian Reservation, so I love their stories.
Yeah.
Those are the stories I grew up with. So, like, reading these other ones, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Thunderbirds and shit?
Thunderbird. Thunderbird.
I mean, not that we didn't have our own Thunderbird, but
The real question is...
it was different.
Do Thundercats try to eat Thunderbirds?
No, they're best friends.
They're best friends. Yeah.
Why would the same element fight each other?
Because it's a cat and a bird. Why would a cat not eat a bird?
I've seen plenty of cats play with birds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's only play for the one that's not getting murdered.
You don't watch enough videos on YouTube.
Oh, I don't. I don't watch enough cute kitten videos on YouTube.
You don't. Awesome.
Well, yeah. Hope you folks enjoyed this. Our source for this episode is a book, a tome for the most part, called American Indian Myths and Legends, selected and edited by Richard Erdoes and Alfonso Ortiz. Yeah.
It's a pretty dope book. Get it
Good
closer.
book. Yeah. Good
Check
book.
it out, man. Find
Check
it on
it out.
Amazon for like $8 right now.
Yeah, it's
Or if you want the professional edition for $1,000.
yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good
It was great.
stuff.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
If you want to, hit a notification bell.
hit a notification
Sometimes it
bell.
does something, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know how that shit works.
Hijack one of those prop planes and spell out high mythology in the sky like it's an 80s movie.
Don't do that.
You could try that too. No, actually, don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's probably not a good idea.
You won't get away this
You
time.
won't get away with it.
Things have changed
Yeah.
since the 90s.
Yeah. And
You won't get away.
and also you're just spraying pesticides all over the place. It's real
We don't
harmful
need
for
that.
the environment. Worst idea I've had yet. I'll
Yeah.
go with that. Worst idea I've had
You're
yet.
too high for this.
Yeah, that's worse than throw a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're buried in a time capsule. So the ideas just keep getting worse. But we'll figure out the right one of these days.
One of these
yeah.
days. One of these days, I might actually agree with you.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never
Sometimes I
know.
do.
Yeah, maybe I'll nail it.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Very rare.
All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.
Glooscap.